Hi, I'm Daniel, and today I'm going to discuss Pixar short, or specifically the Sparkshort branch that launched in 2019 to go on Disney Plus. This series was made separate from all Pixar shorts by allowing new directors to create their own independent short films. These are great for the broader topics they're allowed to go over, with shorts of very styled and groups represented, all varying quality but still. On Disney Plus, there's an extra section that gives a brief behind the scenes of the story animation in each of these. It looked a bit like they stopped doing Sparkshorts for a while, but self-released earlier this year, so I hope that more will be on the way. So with 11 Sparkshorts out as of now, I wanted to rank them in this video. It won't be as long as movie rankings, but there's still stuff to discuss with these, and there's only two I wouldn't call good. So, what do I consider to be the best and worst Sparkshort? If this video does well, I might do more short ranking, specifically from Disney and Pixar. 11. Smash and Grab. I don't know what it is about Pixar robot media that makes me want to like them far more than I actually do. This is kinda cute. I think this is a good job of conveying both character without dialogue just through their designs. The animation also looks pretty good with some of the lighting. However, this is the only Spark short that has a story which probably should have been a full runtime. This tries to tell world building with an interesting reason of two prisoner robots wanting freedom in a robot society. However, the execution comes off so lacking, with most of it just being set up in a prolonged action set piece. This feels like this should have felt grander than it actually did. This short isn't really bad, but it's too overambitious that I used back around to being banned again. Luckily the others are better. 10. Float. I normally really like Pixar metaphors for using that idea to add to the discussion and meaning. However, using a child floating to represent autumn just isn't a good one, since it's a useful superpower. Honestly, having a child be a different creature would have probably worked better to show feeling different and behind. I think the story of a father wanting to hide a child's differences before learning to embrace it is a good story that has its place, but it does kind of show how autumn stories are mainly told by autistic people. Compared to the other Spark shorts I'll discuss later, there's two autistic shorts both about non-typical main characters. This story still has its moments, but it comes off as very generic with yet visual creativity in certain other shorts. And with that whole flawed metaphor, this makes it one of the weakest. 9. Youp. Repeat what I just said to some extent. Because while this bear represents autumn's floating metaphor, or a young child, this is even more questionable with notable main character. Marcus is very boring. This is another short about others yearning about autumn acceptance. It's a good lesson, but I kinda wish there was something from the perspective of an autistic person. It could even use a unique animation style or framing device to get this point across. With this out the way, I think this is good at showing Renee as a more realistic non-verbal autistic character, especially with how both stimming and meltdowns are shown. However, it is kinda boring because it's just a canoe ride without much fun had. It's not an entertaining or creative short, which sadly had to come with dropping the metaphor. Putting my personal nitpick aside, this is a good short but far from one of the best. 8. Self. After I found out Pixar was making something stop motion, I was expecting something better, but this is still good. Its idea of popular racism is quite obvious, but I like the message of changing to fit in bit by bit, removing individuality. Without even being about autism, this ends up being a better autistic short than the other two. While this animation looks better in images than it does in movement, it's still a nice distinct look that I'm glad Pixar tried in the first place. From this point in the list, all the shorts are good and pretty close. 7. 20 Something. This is another clever short where its message is figured out quite quickly. It's a funny idea to show three kids in a trench coat to show imposter syndrome in adulthood. And the way the different age groups act and interact is fun. The animation has good cartoon designs that fit the story, and the colours fit the Nike location. Potentially a bit too much of this is spent on wacky awkward hijinks, but it still has a story and metaphor and story to represent this transition phase in life. 6. Borrow. I'm not completely sure if this was always going to be a Spark short since it was meant to appear before Soul before it skipped the cinematic release, but it's cute. It's another 2D animated short with really likeable character designs and a creative look of underground houses animals live in. Fantastic Mr. Fox did first and even better, but this is still enjoyable. It's hard to discuss since it has yes subtext and messages, but it doesn't need that to be cute and funny. But it's a bit weird that only one of two Spark shorts get nominated for Best Animated Short at the Oscars. And it's both the animal centered ones that got nominated. 5. Nona. I've heard this is the least like Spark short, and to be fair, it doesn't have good animation with awkward lighting and models. This does also feel like more an attempt to do something Pixar way instead of doing something different. There isn't any magical twist to spice it up, but it's still a very powerful story about grief and tying that to hobbies and interests. This is shown through Nona's interest in watching wrestling, which she doesn't need to use, but just appreciate and find happiness in the people still here. The child also isn't that annoying, nothing more than the average child. This is all around a cute and enjoyable short. 4. Purl. This was the first release. I remember being surprised seeing Pixar make something exciting to older audiences. It's also funny how Pixar made a short about what their company used to be. This is about workplace sexism, and while not subtle in its parallels, I don't think this needs to be as long as a well-told message. And this is great. Using the metaphor of a boy with yarn works surprisingly well to show being outcasted from the environment. It also works to show masking to fit in through a knitted suit before she finds someone like how she used to be. This ending is very ideal, but it's not supposed to be a realistic depiction, just how to change for the better. It's a bit in the young end and dialogue heavy, but Pearl was still such a great introduction to the Sparkshorts. 3. Kitbull. This is the most acclaimed Sparkshort, being the other one so far to get Best Animated Short nomination, and I constantly see it being highly praised. For quite a while, I saw this overrated, and while it's still mildly is since it's not number 1, this rewatch made me come around on it even if it's a bit younger than it needs to be. This short tackles animal abuse and uses the animal friendship of big dog and small cat to discuss a more serious issue. While I normally prefer metaphors, this is still really powerful to see these cute of animals find peace. I also like how well the animation can juggle being cute and dark at the same time. The 2D animation works for the story, and I do see why this is so highly praised, even if it's not my favourite. 2. Out. While the many Disney's first gay characters thing can be funny, I don't think we should place the high bar over these non-corporate queer stories made with Disney. Even so, Pixar yarn this short to be told is brilliant. It's about Greg struggling to tell his parents and switching bodies with a dog. Imagine a 2020 Pixar thing with a character swapping bodies with an animal that I put on second on one of my rankings. While the dog thing at first was like a way to be distracting from the queer story, it leads on to a great scene of his mother saying things they had trouble communicating on. It's a simplistic coming out story, but it's an effective one. I also rate the animation style full of colours, roundness, neutral texture and everything. The imperfections both add to the children's picture book style I was going for and the overall message. Out is great, maybe even amazing, but I still found picking the number 1 easy. 1. Wind. I may be biased inside of my favourite movie and this is just refacing the Bing Bong scene, but this is a big showcase of why Pixar metaphors work, even without being the most obvious. I felt that this was amazing immediately after I first watched it, just for the atmosphere and emotional moment in a vacuum. However, the behind the scenes revealing the immigration angle just makes this kick so perfectly. A story about a child and his grandma trying to escape a house bureaucracy really sets the scene to feel both dull and hopeless. The animation may not be the most unique in the science, but that fits the tone and it's great at how dark this is. I don't want to spoil everything about this show, but it represents every emotion and has a very strong end about moving on to a better life, even with party after year behind. This manages so much in what I consider to be a masterpiece of a short. In my opinion, Wind is easily the best Pixar Sparkshort. In conclusion, while I found the best and worst easy, the rest are close in quality. Even more than when I usually say this, it's fine for all years to be different, since they're going to relate more to certain people. Pixar movies in general have moved these half-autobiographical stories with onward soul turning very elemental, which I really like conceptually. These shorts are great to produce these director stories and are consistently good, so I hope they keep being made. I recommend watching them since they are all less than 10 minutes each. There's also Disney's Short Circuit, which is more hit or miss quality wise, but if this does well I could also rank them. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching more and pressing subscribe. The end.